Shalom, me bros, Hebrews. This is Oldfield Disciple. Cruising with Jesus. Let's talk about it. This world's done crazy. I'll tell you what. All I can do is just have joy, peace, and the Most High through Yeshua Messiah. You too. One thing we can't do is close our eyes, lay down, and go to sleep. No, we got to keep on keeping on. Ezekiel 33 says that the watchman on the wall is to stand guard day and night and watch for the enemy. And if he sees the enemy, he's to blow the shofar and warn the townspeople. If the enemy comes and the townspeople don't heed the warning of the watchman, the blood's on the people's hands. But if the watchman on the wall lays down on his duty and doesn't blow the shofar and warn the people when the danger comes, the blood is on his hands. Now, what's a watchman? A watchman are men like myself, Pastor Fox, Pastor Dow, Barry, and Bennett. Those are the three that I follow mainly. Now, those are other men like you. You know, you diligently seek the Most High every day. You're a watchman. Um, Watching everything that's going on so you can warn the people. All we can do is speak truth. The truth is in the scriptures. That's why we do our daily bread. Uh, Let me flip the camera around and let's talk about it a little more in depth. All right, so as I cruise on to my last lease before I go on days off, tomorrow is the Shabbat. Praise the Most High. This morning I seen an article. I'd heard about this and I went and I looked for some articles. Uh, it's true. And the article I seen was groundbreaking bill passed in Colorado. Police reform. Now, before I go any further, the spirit across this land right now is that all police are bad. They're white supremacists. They're dangerous. They're harmful. And it's a waste of money to continue to put money into the police departments. Defund the police. That's all across the land. If we go watch what happened in Seattle with the Chaz or Chop or whatever they wanted to call themselves, how that went down over there, be prepared and watch. That is coming to every major city and even small communities across the land soon. And here's why. Colorado passing this bill will remove an act that Congress put into place, or the Supreme Court put into place. I don't remember the year, so I'm not even going to get in trouble with quoting that. But anyway, it's an insurance, basically. It's called qualified immunity, and it protects police officers from being personally sued for whatever reason. You know, say gets called to a domestic violence dispute. The officer goes to the call. The male gets combative. He arrests him, and in the process of that, somehow hurts him. As long as the officer is operating in the bounds of his jurisdiction and his authority granted him by the state or the city, then this qualified immunity will cover him from the guy he arrested just now at this domestic dispute. It will protect him from that guy coming back tomorrow and getting a lawyer and saying, hey, he hurt my arm. I need medical care. And then suing that police officer for everything the officer's worked for all his life. You know, people sue for the dumbest reasons. You know, several years ago, there was a lady that spilled coffee in her lap after she drove out of the drive-thru at McDonald's. She sued McDonald's and won $1 million because the coffee was hot and it burned her. Yeah, coffee's hot. Anybody out here don't know that? Don't spill it on your lap. It's hot. Okay, dumb suit. You want to hear another dumb one? Go look it up. A guy took the push handle off his lawnmower, started it up, and was going to use it as a hedge trimmer. Reached down, put his hand in the bottom of the lawnmower where the blades were to pick it up and use it as a hedge trimmer for his hedges, and it cut his fingers off. That's why you have the stickers on the lawnmowers now with that little picture of the hand being cut. Okay. And he won that lawsuit. He sued the lawnmower company and won that suit. So, with that said, I believe officers ought to operate in the bounds of their authority. I want my civil rights protected at all costs. That's why when an officer takes an oath to the Constitution of these United States, it's not to do the bidding of the governor or the mayor or even the chief of police, whatever the case may be, it's to the Constitution. And any law given that contradicts the Constitution, that officer has a right and a duty to reject that. Like here in New Mexico, here in my county, our county sheriff has been rejecting stupid orders that the governor's calling law for months now. It's got her all bent out of shape. But our sheriff's department here and our local police officers here are following the Constitution and not enforcing her dumb rules or dumb, and that's all they are. They're what would I call it? It's not a rule because a rule you still have to follow. It's not a law. Can't be a law. Guideline, suggestion, I guess. You know, we have checks and balances in our system here in the United States. Our forefathers set that up for a reason, to keep tyranny from rising up. It's supposed to be checks and balances, but we've lost that. Because see, like our state police here, they just forgotten their oath to the Constitution. They don't give a damn. The governor says go and do this, they go and do that. If the governor says it's a law, they follow it. And it's sad because I know there's good men and women on the state police force, but it's hard for me to have any respect for a law enforcement agency that tramples the Constitution, that I took an oath to myself many years ago when I went in the Army. I tell people that oath never expired. It's not my point. My point is that with all the distractions that we are having shoved down our throat today, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, white lives matter, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Is COVID-19 real? Is it fake? Is there conspiracy? Yada, yada. Just distraction after distraction. And while they're keeping us distracted over here with the left hand, they got the right hand over there signing some of the dumbest bills into effect. I've heard that many law enforcement officers have said if we lose qualified immunity, we don't give a 2-week notice. We don't pull our cruisers down to the police department. Wherever we at, we pull over. Uniform can stay there. Our police issued, our service issued firearm can stay there. I walk away, I quit. I am not getting sued and losing everything I have because you took my insurance away. Yes, there's bad cops out there that need to be handled, but that should happen within the department itself. That's why we have not only checks and balances, but delegation of responsibility. We looked at it, I think it was yesterday or the day before in Exodus, when Moses' father-in-law told him, hey, you can't do this all by yourself. You need to delegate responsibility. And make sure that the ones you delegate that responsibility to are capable of handling that responsibility. And let them handle it. It's not a big deal. I mean, I've been a part of hierarchy and delegation of responsibility in the oil field all my life. If you can't operate a crew, they run you off and get one that can. It's just, this is just one phase. Imagine this. Law enforcement officers all across your state, sheriffs and city police and state troopers, dropping and quitting their job on the spot. And you look around and there is no law enforcement officer to come for any reason whatsoever. What do you think is going to happen? How's that going to look? Utter chaos for a little while. Now, here's the deal. It will be replaced. They will be replaced. But what are they going to be replaced with? Well, if you go back and look in history, because history is cycles, it's cyclical. You've got large cycles that take place over 100 years, 200 years. You've got smaller cycles that take place in generations, 10, 20 years, and so on, so on. But those cycles continue to repeat and revolve. If you go back and look in 1930s Germany, how did a pissant German soldier from World War I, that was nobody, rise to power? Rise to be almost the most powerful person on the planet had he have taken over, and the Americans and all the Allied forces, had they not prevailed, how did he get to be there? Well, he didn't just wake up one day in power. He worked at it. Took him time. I think 1933 is when he started. What they do first, they got rid of the police and replaced them with what we know as Gestapo. If you don't know about it, I suggest you go read it. Go learn about it. The Gestapo was his henchman, I'll call him. If he said go and round up those 10 people over there at this address, they didn't go whine. They didn't look and see if it was lawful. They did it. And it was wicked. Because the police that were there to protect and serve the German people were removed. Defunded and removed. Now pay attention, hear that. Defunded and removed. Replaced with Gestapo, brown shirts. You know, this bill of qualified immunity, it's an order that police officers will be more careful at how they handle business. It looks good on the outside. It does. I mean, well, the tree of good and evil that God said don't eat, it looked good too. And it tricked old Eve up quick, fast, and hurry. Because it looked good. We got to look beyond the appearance. We got to look beyond what's it look like. This bill looks good in essence. And if you just kind of glanced at it, yeah, sweet. That's what most of us do. We have multiple businesses telling their customers to start using their credit cards or bring the correct change, because the banks, listen, the banks do not have currency to give out, change to give out. It's getting to become more and more prevalent, and it will become more and more prevalent rapidly and more rapidly as we go, to the point where cash will be impossible to get or give. I know I'm not even going to really go into all the particulars on that. There's other channels that have them particulars, so go check it out. Check out the effects that's going to cause. Look at the effects of how inflation works. When you pump tons and tons of currency into the system to bandage its wound, that currency becomes less and less valuable. That's inflation. Hyperinflation, basically $10, $15 for a loaf of bread, $30, $40 for a gallon of milk. I'm not saying that's the case, but it could be real soon. This is what we're looking at, y'all. We got our eyes closed. I'm not going to sit back quiet. if you don't know him, don't follow him, and you don't even like his tone, go either way. At least go get the information that he has. Pastor Dow, man of Yah, just put out a video earlier today about how much money the Catholic Church received from the federal government in the form of tax reform from their 501c3. Yay! To help with, it will help them with, what do you say? And I'm not going to get into it. You go listen to it. It's wicked. I'm not going to sit quietly by it. I'm not going to let the politicians of this world pass laws that I don't speak out about and tell y'all about. And I'm definitely not going to allow false teachers of the church to speak out and me not call them out. The Catholic Church right now, and always has been, but they're rearing their ugly head. I know, anger some. You know, if y'all would really diligently read your Bibles, you would look at 90. You would start looking and going, hey, I'm being lied to by that guy up there at the pulpit. One, because that's what I did. They told me, read your Bible. Okay, if I'm going to do it, I do it 100%. I'm not going to read 2 or 3 verses. I read the whole thing. 8 times I've been through it from Genesis to Revelation in the last 7 years. Through this daily reading plan that I have, that I've been sharing with y'all in the form of our daily bread. Only mine was a little more ramped up. That was 3 chapters in the Old, 3 chapters in the New Testament, 3 Psalms and a proverb. A little bit more aggressive. And I didn't understand hardly anything the first time I read through it, but the second time things started coming together. But anyway, there's some wicked stuff going on in this world. Think about what I just said about our police. You better fight for your men and women who put on that uniform to boldly protect you. Yes, there's some jackasses out there, and they need their asses jacked is what they need. But there's a majority of those who put the uniform on and boldly go and stand between you and crime and wickedness. The majority of those stand in front of you in a bullet all day, every day, over and over again. And they're going to walk away. And they're going to be replaced with all of the ones you're saying you hate now. You're fixing to not like life here shortly. You're not. Jeremiah shouted and yelled at the people for as long as he was a prophet. There's a reckoning coming. You'll need to wake up. Reckoning. All I can do is speak out. Tell you the truth. You can like it, dislike it, or other. It's not my problem. That's not my problem. I'm blowing the shofar. Day and night. Diligently seeking. Watching for the enemy. What he's doing. What are you doing with the information? Are you rejecting it? Hoping it don't happen? Are you doing something about it? Something's going on, y'all, and it's going on quick. I mean, I see things just rapidly moving in the wrong direction. This is the end of one cycle. We've had a time of prosperity, laziness, falling away, now destruction. This cycle will have a rebuilding cycle if this is not the last cycle before the Messiah comes. This is the last one, the Messiah comes, then it falls away, destroys, he restores. If not, we'll go through a time of restoration and rebuilding, and then a time of prosperity again, and then destruction, and the cycle will continue. It's been continuing throughout history. Go back and look at history. I'm not a prophet. I'm not even all that smart, but I can look at history and go, well, it kind of looks like it lines up with all the other cycles. We're at this one. We're at this point in this cycle. Now, what do you do with this information? That's up to you. Lead your family, men. Lead your wives. Make sure they know who the Most High is. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged in all ways. Be frustrated. Go look up what I say. Catch you on the next ride.